Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Nneka Chiazor, Vice President, Government and Public Affairs for Cox Communications in Virginia. And I'm in good company with several fine citizens in the city of Chesapeake, who I'm about to introduce you to. Let's bring them in. Let's bring them in. Hi. Here we have Vic Nichols, fine Vic Nichols. Who else do we have? Welcome to the party. Rick West, Mayor Rick West. We have Mayor Rick West with us today. Who else we got? Debbie Ritter, Councilwoman Debbie Ritter. Thanks for joining us today. We also have Sharon Johnson Clayton. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. And we have Len Myers. Len, how are you doing?
Good morning. Good afternoon. Happy to be here.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good night, good whatever you want it to be. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for joining In Good Company. It's so great to be with you. I am certainly energized. I'm so glad to be with Chesapeake's finest. And aside from the fact that Cox's regional headquarters in Virginia is in Chesapeake, another great thing about the city of Chesapeake is that it has you in it, of course. And tomorrow is election day in Chesapeake. Yay! And you know, some would say, why would you say yay about that? But having spent like the last 15 minutes with you all cracking up before we started the show, I realized that there's a lot to be excited about for election day to be tomorrow, right, in Chesapeake. It says a lot about the fact that the city of Chesapeake moves on, it endures at a time like this. And it says a lot too about you, about each of you, the fact that you're willing to take time out of a very hectic day today and talk to us. And so I was gonna ask you, to describe a word, to give a word that describes, how tough the pandemic has been on you personally. But having cracked up with you just a few minutes ago, I think I'd like the viewers to hear how have you found joy through the pandemic? What's kept you going through the elections and through the campaign? How have you been able to push through? So please, if you don't mind, could you share how you've been able to do that? And I'll start with Mayor Rick West. How have you been able to push through at this time?
Well, I think this pandemic has had a lot of negative effects, but there have been some positive effects, and which is the isolation. It gives you an opportunity to sort of reset and look at what's important in life, get closer to your family, even though you may not physically be close. We use an app called Marco Polo, and my children are all over the world and get a chance to talk to them. And as far as this election, it has been a very stressful election because everything's different. Anything you've done in the past doesn't necessarily apply. But the good thing, the thing that really always motivates me is knowing those people that are supportive, that care about our city, and care enough to vote tomorrow.
Thank you. So I'll just go around clockwise. I'll go to Councilwoman Debbie Ritter. How have you been able to push through at this time?
Thank you. Well, I'm not sure I've been a concern of mine. But what has really kept us going here is, I call it a silver lining. And I try to look for that every day. And one of the best silver linings for me is the reaffirmation of the goodness of the people in our city, how they banded together to help others. Every day you see a new idea and a new outreach, whether it's to help out all of our students that all of a sudden couldn't go back to their normal routines, how we got lunches delivered and how food is being distributed to families, right down to individuals who may be suffering in some way, and others will find a great way to outreach to them and help with whatever they can do, to see the new appreciation for our healthcare workers, our first responders, all of that's really what's kept me going. And I don't like to say this. I'm never amazed, but I'm constantly reaffirmed by the goodness of people in our city.
All right. Sharon.
Okay. So I had to
Well,
come
you
up.
got your mask on? Okay.
So this is one of the things I've been doing, being creative, my family and I just wanted to thank everybody just so you could see it. Being in the restaurant business, is particularly small business in Chesapeake, I'm Commissioner Sharon Johnson Clayton, and we didn't consider ourselves the front line as far as providing for the constituents and the customers here in Chesapeake, but so many have come in because we've been fortunate to be open in this pandemic, and they have thanked us for just being here. And we didn't even realize we were doing a service, but people want something good to eat. So you don't know sometimes how small things can affect other people. And the city as a whole, I've been going through the city in stores and everything, people have just been so receptive, and we're all just trying to get along. We're trying to be extra nice to people. You're trying to look out for elderly people. You're trying to provide whatever services you can or go out of your way. And I think that's what has impacted myself and my family. And with the voting coming up tomorrow, we're just excited because people have been waiting, and then the 2-week delay, it kind of helped us kind of calm down and just reset. And I'm just excited for the citizens here in Chesapeake because you need to exercise your right to vote. That's one thing we don't want to give up. So for all those I pray that could not do absentee, they're looking forward. Some people look forward to just going to the polls. They look at it as an outing, a social event. So although you won't be able to touch and do the normal things, I think people are just excited in the city to have a chance to express, to make their voice heard. So I think that's what has impacted me the most, just seeing the excitement of the city in this bad time.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Clayton. How about you, Len?
For me, in unusual circumstances like this, I just look for an opportunity to serve. I've served in unusual situations before as an officer in the Joint Operations Center of Virginia National Guard during state emergencies on several occasions. Longtime member of the Chesapeake Emergency Response Team, has served there during states of emergency here in the city. And so, when we're in situations like this, I look to see who can I help, who's most vulnerable. Because in emergency management situations, you want to bring planning and resources to those that need it most. And so in our city, that's residents and small business owners. And so, I look for opportunities to serve. So in this situation, over the course of the last 60 days, I've been able to supply over 30,000 protective face masks for churches and hospitals and government agencies, those on the front lines dealing with this epidemic, looking for opportunities to help small business owners. I am a small business owner, just like Sharon. And so I'm really feeling the economic challenges of the time, and it makes me very sympathetic to the small businesses here in the city of Chesapeake. Over 90% of people who work in our city are they're employed by small business owners, and so we need to make sure that we're properly planning and bringing the resources to bear to help our small businesses so they can stay open, which will in turn help our city through these uncertain times.
Gotcha. Thank you. And Vic, how are you? What's pushing you through this time? How are you doing?
Several things. The first thing is I've been able to get out on the times that I can get out. I can go through, and I've been picking up things out of the city. There's trash at different places when I would go around, clean things up. That was a great thing, being able to go in some stores. I think I got one store, I got about 100 feet in, and I was able to thank the grocery store people for being there. And it was so nice to hear a thank you, baby, back. It's just great to be able to do that. And not just that, but it's more of a chance to actually talk to the regular people who are in working in the stores, what do they think about all this and stuff? You kind of swap things like that. You're able to make a connection. And that was very important to me. Our church finally was able to somewhat meet together in a couple of different services. So that was another good thing. And I know that as a family with several of our friends, depending on where we lived, what our risk situation was and things like that, to be able to use my situation of where I live near some stores and things like that to be able to help other people out and then go over there and deliver, the toilet paper, paper towel, stuff like that. All that just made a big difference.
Thank you. Well, what's made a big difference to us here at Cox, and I'm sure that's going to make a big difference to our viewers at home, is seeing all the signs in the background, right? And the spirit with which the signs came to be. I know several folks who are in the safer at home condition right now might not have an opportunity to walk about and see the different signs, but we appreciate you bringing your signs to the screen. And we appreciate the spirit that so many folks didn't see about how the signs came to be, right? So Debbie, I know you ran to get your sign, and Mayor West, you ran to bring somebody else's sign, and you all were encouraging each other to bring your signs. So I definitely appreciate the partnership that you guys bring to the process at this time, and you're all lifting each other up. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. So let's move on and talk about the regular guy and gal in Chesapeake at this time, and talk about the economic impact. A lot of communities have been hit hard. What are your thoughts on how we recover? Who wants to go first on what does recovery look like? Anyone? I'll begin. Okay, Debbie.
Well, no, I'll defer to Rick and then.
Okay. I think it's, again, we got into this situation on circumstances we have never seen before. Like you said, it's 1918 since the pandemic. Life has changed so much. So getting out of it is going to take some real creative ways and creative thoughts, a lot of collaboration. I have joined other regional leaders and looking at initiatives, how we can help small businesses get back on their feet. I think it's huge that we expanded the outside seating for restaurants and I talked to many restaurant owners who said that this could save their business. It's a small step, but it is a step in the right direction. So, and then there's also that other side. This is one of those situations. I don't think there is a right answer. If you get out there too fast, there could be more. The disease could be, or the virus could be more contagious. If you go too slow, the economy may not recover. So, do you isolate or do you encourage people getting out there? And I think the answer is that we just take it slowly, one step at a time, see how it goes, move forward when we can and backward when we have to.
I like that. Reasonable, one step at a time, see where it goes. Anyone else in terms of, where do we go? How about you, Sharon? You're a restaurant owner. The crabs, the crab boils. Do you do crabs in your restaurant?
Yes, I thought Debbie was gonna go. I don't want to jump in. You okay, Debbie? You want to go?
Oh no, go right ahead. I'll wait for you.
Okay. It's a challenge for us as a small business owner because some of the supplies that we need, we're finding they're short. And you're thinking about masks and things of that nature. Well, think about there's no seasoning in the Chesapeake Bay where I can get Old Bay seasoning. That's what we're known for. Or it's the small things like the crab shells. So just your supplies are coming up short because the manufacturers are closing. Some of the big companies are not supplying bags, brown bags, that because everybody went to takeout, we don't have a supply of just the bags to put your product in. So just to become creative and find ways to order your things online and, to help out the other businesses who call and say, do you have this and you have that? We've been kind of we have a network now of people, other restaurants. And the blue crabs are, hard to find because the weather hasn't been cooperating. And then, you have some of the crabbers are not going out because of their family situation. So you just have to reinvent yourself. And that's what we're known for here. And, and our customers are very, excited to just be able to come in. We were already takeout only. And so that was a plus for us. However, like I said, getting your supplies is Memorial Day weekend coming up. And as you know, the storms are coming in, and with people not really being full staffed in the boating industry and the crabbing industry, so I'm going to be short, and the customers want something good, a treat, they want to do something that the whole family can eat crab. So that's one thing we realize, that people are just excited about the fact that we're able to supply them with something different and something delicious to eat. And that's what we provide here. And I know Rick and the team, as we put in it tomorrow, we may hopefully have a different perspective of people, or whoever's in those seats, they will make sure that our city responds well. And I'm comfortable knowing that any one of us who the voters decide to lead us out of this pandemic and out of this financial hardship would do a great job. So, and that's what I have solace in myself.
Thank you, Sharon.
I'll try to be brief because I know you probably like to get another round in. As the federal government moved through passing the CARES Act, and the state got their money and then distributed it around, well, both through federal and the state government, we were able, through HUD funding, to have about a little bit over $600,000 come to us under the CDBG grant program. So as soon as our economic development department saw how the federal loans and grants were being accessed and some of the difficulty, they moved quickly to develop a concept within those CDBG guidelines to make grants available to small women and minority-owned businesses in certain economic census tracts. And the council was very supportive of that. And I know a number of the members talked to our city manager, who this week should come back with an expanded program so that small businesses across the city will be able to access some grant funding. Every small business is probably experiencing some difficulty, and every small business has employees that are experiencing difficulties. So we hope this will act as a valuable bridge for them to get through a very difficult time. And I think that's something very innovative from our city. And I applaud our city staff for working on that and bringing it to a council that's enthusiastic about helping out our businesses.
Thank you, Debbie. And we applaud your city staffers as well. We work closely at Cox with your city staffers, as well as your Economic Development Authority. We appreciate everything that they're doing right now for small businesses, because we appreciate the fact that, right, they are the economic engine for the city. So thank you for raising that. I'd like to move on to another question, unless someone has something to add in terms of how do we recover. Does anyone have any other point they want to add?
Yeah,
Okay.
if I could.
Sure.
For me, this is a situation where the city could move a lot faster, at least in terms of imagination and how we can help our citizens, so that when the funding becomes available, then we can move forward from day one. For instance, the city of Hampton has already had a small business assistance grant that they orchestrated back in April. Unfortunately, the funds have been expended. The city of Virginia Beach has provided rental assistance for those most vulnerable, so that they won't be evicted. The city of Norfolk has waived penalties and fees, and they've moved back tax deadlines 2 months, some 3 months in some cases. But here in the city of Chesapeake, we've extended the personal property tax by 2 or 3 weeks at most. So I think there's tremendous opportunity to do more, because our residents and our small businesses are hurting, and we just need more immediate action.
Thank you, Lynn.
And if I could, real quick, one of the things that makes me reflect on some of the things that we had talked about before the camera started rolling is the fact that we have to take a look at previous decisions and think in light of what we know now and how things can be, how things can change so quickly, how decisions could be made better in terms of saving money, giving $750K a year to Dollar Tree, who really doesn't need that money. That $750K a year could sit there and help a number of SWAM businesses. One of the things I said, I was the first one to bring it up last Tuesday, was in regards to the African American businesses in South Norfolk who have just come up in the past year or so through Planning Commission and got their business and everything, and they really don't have but so much of a loyal clientele, they haven't had a chance to bring it up. So that's one of the big things for me, and also overdevelopment, because right now we're also looking at the issue of our schools, the facilities, a $300 to $800 million fix for that. And of course, now we have COVID. So a number of those things really come to light as how past decisions affect what's going forward. Thank you.
All right. So I've heard several things from you all today. I've heard looking back, thinking forward. I've heard SWAM, small business development. I've heard, taking caution to not move too fast, but not be too slow at the same time. These are all the salient steps that we need to consider as we look to how to recover expediently in the city of Chesapeake. So as we're talking about our great city, and we're looking at a clock of 10 minutes winding down, our voters, right? As we think about the voter and we think about tomorrow, think about the voting booth, think about the experience that we would have had in the past, and what would you say to the voter as they're approaching voting tomorrow? I guess my question is, we know that some people have had a chance to do absentee voting. What do people need to know to be safe if they choose to vote in person tomorrow? But there's a question before that. Why is it important for folks in Chesapeake to vote tomorrow? Why? We know that there are some folks who are like me, gung-ho, very excited about the election process. And then we know that there are some folks who are scared. Could you talk a minute to the folks who are scared? And I'll start with you, Vic, and work my way around.
Okay, very, very quickly. Your vote determines your personal property taxes, whether they get raised or not, because that's all depending on council. Schools, like our bus drivers and nurses, their pay determines on you. Your business taxes, if you're a small business, are the prices that you pay when you buy or purchase a service. Your commute time to work and to recreation, because traffic is kind of under council's control as to what they approve and what they don't. Your recreation opportunities. So basically everything, your roads, your schools, public work projects, water, repaving, rec centers, all of that comes under something you can control. And this gives you something back from all of the anxiety and the uncertainty, is to be able to say, I can pick my person, I know what they're going to do.
Thank you. Len?
Yes.
Why should people get out there tomorrow?
Well, it's important because it basically boils down to what sort of Chesapeake do you want for now and in the future? Do you want someone from day one who has experience in emergency management, has experience as a small business owner, has experience as a consumer rights attorney for the interest of people just like you and me versus big business? And so that determines the type of vision you have for the city. So are we going to build a Chesapeake that's responsive to its residents and its taxpayers and the type of city they want to live in? Or are we going to vote for a Chesapeake that principally is accountable more to our developers, leading to overcrowding, leading to congestion, these sorts of things, totally overlooking our rural community, while also disregarding our economically challenged portions of the city. So it's so important to get out and make your voice heard tomorrow. I know it's going to be rainy and cloudy and those sorts of things, and people are worried about infection. But above all, I urge you to be careful. I urge you to wear a mask and practice proper physical distancing because the future of Chesapeake is at stake, and fortunately, it falls on tomorrow, May 19th.
All right, thank you, Lon. Councilwoman Debbie Ritter.
Yes, thank you. I would like people to know that local elections are sometimes forgotten. They don't tend to be as colorful or as exciting as a federal election, or in Virginia's case, state elections sometimes. But we're the people that you can call, and we answer our phones. We don't have staffers that do that. You email us, we email back, we can come to your neighborhood. We are the closest people to the residents. So it really is important who you choose. And I would like to give a great deal of congratulations to our voter registrar and our electoral board that is appointed by the circuit court for the work they've done to assure the safety of the people who choose to vote tomorrow on election day. My best advice, bring your umbrella. The polling places will be practicing physical distancing. They will have masks available if you would like one. It should be a very easy process. And we hope that people will come out and vote. There are a lot of people who care about the future of the city, and we encourage everyone to participate. I do think we've had, as I've been told, presidential numbers in our absentee ballot voting. And that really says a lot for the people of Chesapeake. So, but I know there are a lot of people who want to come in person. So I encourage you to do so. Bring your umbrella.
Thank you. And thank you for using the term physical distancing, right? Because it's just being distant in the physical space doesn't mean we cannot connect. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Commissioner Sharon, I thank you for coming back. The question, I'm not sure if you have a question. The question is, why should folks come out tomorrow and vote? What would you say to the person
because
here?
Although, like you said, some people are going to have reservations because of the situation, but I've volunteered at the Board of Elections. I've worked the polls myself for several years, and I know that they're going to take all the precautions necessary, and that they are taking the precautions necessary. And I also, like Debbie, would like to thank them for the effort and time they're putting in to make all of us feel safe, and to know that we will be safe when you go out to exercise your right to vote, to make your voice heard in the city of Chesapeake. And like Lynn was saying, what type of city do you want moving forward? Because we're a resilient city. We're coming out of this, and we want to come out stronger. We want to come out with a diverse leadership. We want to come out of this with people who understand small businesses, I've been already working with city council on several initiatives myself, and with the other people in the city, the police department, the first responders. So you need people who have experience, and who are not just data driven, but the compassion of the city. And having the oldest restaurant in Chesapeake, I feel a lot of concerns and questions concerning different issues. And we are a type of stay-at-home family city, but we want to move forward and get some things going where we can have entertainment and we can have less polls in our city. You need new people with new ideas who can work along with the people who are there to get things done in this beautiful city of Chesapeake. And I hope I've done enough to, get the citizens vote and to work with the city council to have a nice city when we come out of this.
Thank you. And Mayor Rick West, we'll close with you.
All right.
Why should we come out tomorrow? Thank you.
All right. Well, A couple of people have made comments about past decisions. Let me just tell you about past decisions. Because of the conservative nature, particularly our being physically conservative, we're in great shape as a city, better than most. And I can tell you that's because we've been very cautious about how we spend our money. We do not raise taxes. We consider getting the best service for our buck. And for that reason, 90% of the citizens rank Chesapeake high in their quality of life right here, because of past decisions. And because of those past decisions, we've been marked top 10 safest cities in the country, top 10 best managed cities, top 10 safest cities in the country. We have an excellent school system and a wonderful city. So those past decisions have produced good results, and I'm proud of them.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We are really proud to have all of you today. We are proud of the contributions that you've made. We are proud, definitely, at Cox in Virginia to be headquartered in a city that keeps us safe, and a city that has citizens such as yourself that are willing to take out time in their day to be in good company with us at Cox, and to encourage its citizens as well to come out and vote in a physically distant manner, in a manner that is safe and secure, and to always do the right thing. So thank you for thank you for wearing the mask. Thank you for showing up with your signs. Thank you for dialing in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your grace, and thank you again for being in good company. I'm Nneka Chiazor, and I'm here with all these fine folks today: Mayor Wick Brest, Vic Nichols, Councilwoman Debbie Ritter, Commissioner Sharon Johnson Clayton, and Len Myers. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Good luck. Have a good one.
Good luck.